Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For the race is not to the swift nor the strong, but time, chance, and opportunities are given to all of us. My name is Lali Tokwe, and welcome to the Alignment Conversations with Lali Tokwe. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank the Lord for yet another day and another episode of the Alignment Conversations with Lali Tokwe. Welcome to the conversation. If you are new on this platform, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope we will have a great and wonderful time in this season of Passover. We celebrating, the death, the crucifixion, the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And when he hung on the cross, he spoke mostly about, he demonstrated the love of God, and he spoke about forgiveness. Today in our conversation, we are so blessed and honored to have she is such a blessing. She's very young, energetic. She's a public speaker and a young lady who has been through so much, but we have seen the grace of God through her life, especially in the message of forgiveness. God has worked so mightily in her life, and when she grew up and was, molested by her own father, which is something that many people would not think it would happen, but it happened to her. Her name is Zizo Isabelo Zam Apleni. I love her name. That's why I'm pronouncing it like this. Her name is Zizo Isabelo Zam Apleni. She's here with us. We'll talk more with Zizo. Z, welcome to the Alignment.
Thank you so much, Sissy. Thank you for having me.
Not only one
Thank you.
Greet the viewers at home and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zizo Isabelo Zam Apleni. That's all that there is to
I'm
it.
Here. I'm here.
Yes.
She's this bubbly and, loves to talk. Bonakala nga too shy, but I know she can talk. Zizo, thank you so much for joining us. In my introduction, I spoke about this season, the season of Passover, and I just decided that you'd be one of the people that will speak with during this time. You wrote a book, and this book is taking us from, the years when you were born and how you grew up. Of course, there's so much in it that one would learn, and it's one of those books when I read it, it's because of your experience in life that was painful. But as I ended the book, I see that there's, hope. I can't be, there are authors, after they've told us their stories, you when you think of them, you feel worried and feel sorry for them. Yeah. But it is not the case with you. That's one thing that when I look at you and really see, God at work, because after you have written your book, you spoke about your book. Even today, we'll be talking about this book. My father took away my innocence. At first, I thought it's a fiction.
Okay.
Tell us more about it.
Right. This book has really been a therapy session for myself. Mm-hmm. That was organized by God, So this book really tells a story of, as you said before, that how I grew up and what I endured and whatnot. So let me take you back a bit and remind you and the viewers of what really happened. So my parents were not married. They were not married, and so as soon as my mom found out that she was pregnant, she was young. I think she was 20 when she was pregnant. She found out that I was pregnant. She told my dad, and my dad was like, "Peace out. I'm not gonna be a part of this, But after some time, I was born and whatnot, and then after some time, they decided that a child needs both parents and that I should get to know my father. Yes. And so my mom now created this relationship between us, and I got to know this person as my father. I remember I lived with my grandparents because my mom had just started her job, and she would only come and see me during weekends. And then my father now was also part of the picture. I would be taken out of school, come see your dad, you know.
So your grandparents, your maternal...
Yes, my maternal grandparents, yes. And so that's how the relationship started, and I got to trust this man. I got to love him as my father, you know. And it was just fun times, you know. He was a teacher, so every 20th he used to come to school and surprise me with nice yogurts and all of that, because he was my father, you know. And so the relationship bloomed from then. And then I was now in Aidutwa, as Lalini, you know, all of that. And he asked that the year 2001, when I started my grade 1, to go and live with him so that I can he was in Umtata, so that I can be in a more urban area, or where I can get good schooling and all of that. So that seemed like a great idea to everyone who was there to listen, you know. So everyone accepted that I am going to live with him in Umtata. Now, my family, my maternal family, is made up of a lot of people, and my uncles, they are all married, my aunts, they are all married, and so my grandparents are also married, you know. And so I grew up in a very harmonious home, like no fighting, no nothing, you know, like
happy family.
Your happy family is literally like the perfect family for me, you know, as a child. And so when I got to live with my dad now, he was married to a stepmother, and things just changed. I was not used to being made to wash the dishes at, you know, I was 7, but now all of a sudden...
It was the stepmother?
Yes, stepmother, making me wash the dishes, making me take care of the baby.
How old were you?
I was 7. So all of this now is happening, and I'm like, I don't understand
taking
all of
care
this.
of a baby?
Yes.
How old was
the baby was like 1, you know. So I had to make sure that her nappy's changed, she's eaten, you know, all of that, because I come back from school and she's there. And so, but all of this does not happen when my dad is around, you know. So that is the first kind of abuse that I endured, and that is the first kind of that is the first innocence that my dad took away from me, you know. And then the fight started. They used to fight. I used to watch them fight, and in my mind, I only knew that a person who gets beaten up is a person who did something wrong, you know, because that's what used to happen with my grandmother. If you do something wrong, you get a hiding. So in my mind, my mom was always wrong, because she always, my stepmother, always got a beating, because every now and then, you know. And so...
Were you allowed to play, like with other kids?
Yes, I was allowed to play. I was allowed to play when my dad was around, you know. I was allowed to play. But when he's around, I have to look after the kids. I have to make sure that the house is okay. And so now this one day, this fight, it became big now that the neighbors are coming out and everyone is coming to see what is going on. I just took the baby and I just ran to next door. And then after that, I saw my stepmother grabs her baby from me and with bags, and then she left.
So you were left with your father?
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay. Dad comes and asks for me, and then we go back to the house. And then now we are watching TV and just relaxing, you know, according to me. And then all of a sudden, this man starts raping me, you know. And
how old are you?
I'm 7. I'm 7.
Still in grade 1?
Still in grade 1. All of this is happening in this
That's
one
very
year.
same year he took you from your maternal grandma.
Yes. So, and this happens, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, no, this is painful, ne? But this is my dad.
Did you know that this is rape?
No, I didn't.
Did you know that this is wrong?
No, I didn't.
But it was just strange.
Yes, it was just like, okay, why is this, like, what is happening? And he didn't explain nothing. Just when he was done, he took me and he put me in a bath full of cold water and he washed me thoroughly.
Did you
and
cry?
Then I was crying.
So while crying, why?
No, he's not saying anything like it's gonna get better. Like that's what he was saying. Like Madinyamezele, it's gonna get better, you know? And that's how, and then he washed me and then he took me back to the bed, and then the following day I could not go play because my bones were literally, if bones could like break, you know, like that's how it felt, you know. So I couldn't go play, and he was there taking care of me until I was better. And then when I was better, shopping spree. We went shopping, and it was just that nice time, father and daughter.
So it was
Mom
not a school
no,
day?
No, it was like during the weekend, and mom wasn't there, so it was just quality time between the both of us. And then my mom came back eventually, stepmother came back eventually. Life continued, but when they had those fights, it would happen.
So you did not have the guts to speak to or to tell the stepmom?
The problem is, I thought it was happening to everyone.
Oh, you thought it's a normal?
I thought it's a normal thing. Even at
kids.
school, I'm like, why is everyone not talking about this? Oh, okay. No, for me, when I think about it now, it's like the same as being washed by someone, That's how normal it is for me. I'm like, oh, okay, it's one of those things that we don't talk about it, because I won't ask you, what did you eat last night? It was one of
you. I mean, you don't talk about that.
You don't talk about that as kids. So it was just normal. I would sit there, could not play, because I'm in pain. So I would sit there at school and no one would notice. And I grew up like that. And then the following year, my mom, because she used to come and visit me, and then she would have questions like, are you happy? Are you like, I'm like, no, I'm happy. Like, because Nalapo, I didn't see anything to talk about.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy, and then...
And I mean, you're 7.
Yeah, and then now she tells me that, you are a big child. So now when I came to see you, your neck is long, your head is big. I'm like, what is happening
because
to my
you're
child? You see, so that's why I was asking you, are you happy? And you always reassured me that you are happy, And so she decided that, no, next year I'm ready now. I'm ready to live with my kids, so I'm taking my child.
She took you
after 2002, yes.
When you were 8?
Yes, when I was 8. And then, but now, the problem is that he would call me and say, don't you want to come to holidays and whatnot and whatnot? And I'll be like, oh, but okay, I want to, because now I used to, listen, at school, I was the best dressed kid. I got everything. If it was Nike, my dad was like, if it's Nike from top, it's Nike to the bottom, and his kids were like that. So I was that child. If in the suburb that we're living in, Zizo has iteki, I'm gonna go tell my mom I want that teki that Zizo has.
So he bought you a lot of expensive
things.
Stuff.
So I would like, I'm so scared of what is going to happen, but I want into a tile,
So you knew if you go to your dad's house, this will happen.
This will happen.
And it's painful, but you still want the gifts from
I want the gifts, And so that's how now every weekend I was asked to go to him, and, sometimes it would happen, sometimes it would not happen, because you would find that there are other kids now. His sister's kids are there, and then he wouldn't get the chance. And then, great weekend! I got there, I got the clothes, and nothing happened.
So in Uzi, there's nothing that says this is wrong.
No.
But it's just something that you think it happens to other kids, but it's painful. So your fear is just the pain.
It's just
that
the pain.
Comes with it.
Yeah, that comes with it. Otherwise,
according to you, it's something.
And I had this thing like, no, let me be strong, because my friends are also quiet about it. So let me keep it within, So that's the whole mindset that I had.
Did he ever warn you, to say never tell anyone?
No. Okay, now the light bulb moment comes. I am 12 years old now. I went to live in a boarding school now, and then it continued,
every time you're on holidays.
Every time on holiday it would happen. But now I'm in boarding school, and then the boarding master is a woman, and so I start my periods at school. I'm 12 years old, and then she comes to me and she's like, I tell her, okay, this happened, I don't know what is this, and then she's like, okay, so this means that if a boy touches you, you are going to fall pregnant. I'm like, and then she's like, and being pregnant is a disgrace and whatnot. I'm like, okay. And she didn't care to explain, okay, what is pregnancy and whatnot.
And what
I'm
is
like,
touch?
I am scared.
Touching
what touching is. And I'm like, I'm scared of a boy. I remember the following day, we were asked to sit in groups in class, and I was made to sit next to a boy. The way I cried my eyes out, I was like, he's gonna make me pregnant because I'm sitting next to him. And so my teacher was like, no, you're gonna learn about it next year, grade 7, how a person gets pregnant. Otherwise, for now, leave it. So,
and at home, you don't talk to mom?
No, mom, now we don't have that kind of relationship, because after grade 2, there was this famous boarding school. That's where I moved to now. And then
so you just
so I
see
saw her
her-
also during holidays and weekends, so we didn't have that kind of
And
relationship.
she shares you with your father.
Yes,
sometimes go to her
him,
and then-
so it was like that. And we didn't talk about periods when my mom and I, nothing. And so, yeah, life continued until now. And then I went to, after I started my period, I went to him now. And then when I just told him out of like, yo, Dada, I started bleeding. And then they told me, Oba, a boy touches me. But when Dada, you're not a boy. Ne? No,
because
mtanam.
according to
Yeah,
you,
no,
it's,
mtanam, yeah, you're not a boy.
once at your age.
Okay, okay. And then he now says that, listen, what is happening between us, it's our thing. And then if people start to know it, your family will not love you, your mom will not love you, and everyone will just set you aside, So let us keep this between us, let it be our secret, basically. I'm like, okay, Tata, no problem. And then the following year, 2007, I farewell primary school. I'm going to high school.
Yeah.
And then my parents decide that he's going to buy me the clothes. And then I'm talking to him over the phone. I'm like, Dada, but you know my sizes. Like, just buy the clothes, send them through, get taxi, I'll get them.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking, I've reached this stage, but I'm tired of this now, And
But it doesn't dawn to you that
no,
it's wrong.
It's wrong still. And then he asks that I know, and he's like, now, like, no, you have to come. You have to come, because if you do not come, I'm just not going to buy these clothes anymore. And then I'm like, yo, okay, no, let me go. And then I go, and then it happens. We get a chance alone together, and he rapes me again. And then this time I get pregnant. And
How old were you?
I'm 13 now. And then I get pregnant, and then I after getting pregnant, I don't know. I do remember in my mind getting sick, vomiting, all of that. But
You didn't know that you were pregnant.
I didn't know. And and then now I get sick. I get stomach cramps, and then at school an ambulance comes and gets
boarding
me,
school.
and then I go to the doctors, and then the doctors are like, what is wrong? Like my insulin was checked, everything was checked. And then another doctor is like, okay, you know what? Let's do a pregnancy test. You never know. And then I'm all for, okay, let's pee. I get a pregnancy, and then it comes out positive. And no one says anything to me. Like, okay, she's pregnant. Let's discharge her. She's pregnant. And then I get home. The boarding master was also with me now, and she doesn't speak to me. I can see that she's angry, but I don't understand. Why are you angry? It's just pregnancy,
Did they tell you about pregnancy?
Yes, they did tell me.
Did you understand what pregnancy is?
No, I'm just saying, later detail, but it's just pregnancy. Like, I mean, why are you angry, Because, and so I'm like, okay, then I think, Kanene pregnancy, it's a disgrace.
You think about...
boys, but what boy did I touch? What boy touched me, And then my mom is called in, and then my mom is all angry, asking me questions. How are you pregnant at such a young age? How does this happen? I'm like, Mama, I don't know how a person gets pregnant. Like, let's get it there. How does a person get pregnant? And then, no, man. No. This is how a person gets pregnant. Like, okay. So how does the act happen? What is sex, And then they're like, no, a boy takes his thing and put it in your vagina and whatnot and whatnot. I'm like, oh, no, man. Utata, Mtata actually does that to me. And then everyone is like, what? Utata?
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. Oh, go mama. Since 2007, he's been doing it. And then now, even then, as I'm saying, I said it like this.
Yeah.
Like, even then, like, that's all day, like, he does it. Like, okay, it's normal. And then, now, and then my mom is like, let me call your uncle. My uncle is a doctor now. And he's like, no, bring her in and let's do HIV test. Yay. And then I'm like, okay, we go now to my uncle's place, and this is done to me. I'm checked, and he's like, okay, Zizo, now they're preparing me, but you have to go to the police station and retell the story. I'm like, police station? Haibo, kaloku umntu oye police station, I know that.
Crime kaloku,
You know?
ngumntu omoshileyo.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking, my dad, hayibo. Even nangoku lento, like now that it's happening, like, okay,
Yeah.
kuthiwa, tell us. I'm like, I remember it was when I started to go live with him. I don't remember the whole,
like the
when was
days
it
and
and whatnot.
stuff, yeah.
I don't, but I know that throughout these years, it's been happening. And then they're like, okay, no, tatakoke, you have to understand that uzawubanjwa. Hey, I'm like, okay, no, this is serious. And then my mom hands me down her phone. And then I'm like, okay, now we are already going to court. And I'm like, guys, I still do not understand what is happening. Because
you're still pregnant?
Okay, now the pregnancy, I got a miscarriage.
Okay.
But then I had to because now he denied it, and then now it was the only thing that stood between me and him, because it happened a long time ago. There's no semen to go and test. Now the only thing is this baby, that will stand for me, and his word, basically. So now here I'm having a miscarriage. I have to rush to the hospital, and I'm in Butterworth. The hospital is in Mthatha. We have to rush there and go and make sure that this fetus, I remember the way that my brother was still young, and the way I was bleeding, they had to take his nappies so that we have to save, because that's the only
that is
thing,
an evidence.
But when we we realized later on that the evidence still, it was already damaged. They couldn't use it. Oh. So really it was just my word, my word against his. So yeah, that's how the baby is not alive today. And then and then after my mom gave me the phone, I checked, what is rape? I googled what is rape, and Google explained to me what rape is. Like, oh no, it's not this. What is a father raping a child? And it also explained to me, and I'm like, that's when it dawned to me that heck, this was bad, and that's when the self-blame started. Like, hey boo, I could have spoken about this when it happened, and my world literally came crashing down on me, because I blamed myself. Then. I was 13. Okay, now I was 14 now. That's when I understood the whole what it was, and I just went through the most as a child, because now holidays. When we went to court, it was decided that because I'm still going to school, can the court cases be postponed to school holidays? So I was not looking forward to school holidays, because there's this thing that I have to go to, and
Did they manage to arrest him?
Yes,
when you guys opened the case.
Yes, they did arrest him, but bail. He was already out, and then now he was a teacher. He went to take out his pensions, and then he was just living the life in Mthatha. I always say that this Omotoso story reminds me of what was happening, because there were people picketing outside while we were there saying, he didn't do this, And here I was with my little family, having to go through these people calling us liars, because now my dad is a man of stature in his community.
What did his family do?
Oh, his family were like, my brother would never, never, because he loved his child. It's the mother who is influencing the child to say all of this, because she didn't get to marry him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the stepmom?
Stepmother, they had already divorced. Okay. They had already, even before it came out, they had already divorced, and he had someone else. But then also, she only discovered the truth now when she got time to listen, and he was arrested. Because for the longest time, since 2007, I only went to court in 2011. Okay. So during that time, cases dismissed, this happened, docket lost, this and this and this. It was just a whole lot of drama. And then now, when I got to 2011, I got to be in court, but I wasn't really in court. I was still young, so I was in the intermediary room, and then I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this again. You gave
your testimony there.
Then that was it. And my mom too gave hers, and we just, And then it was in 2016, I think, that we were told that he's been arrested.
Did you get any help, like counseling and support?
I did, but my world was so dark. Even that couldn't help me.
No.
Yeah.
So what took you out of that darkness?
What took me out? Okay, now this part is exciting.
And you're like,
Okay, so now it's 2017. Yes, 2017. I am in PE. I'm living there, and I don't know how many suicide attempts, and now this is my last one. I am having a deal with God now, like God, because even at home everyone is saved and they're saying that everything happens for a reason, and up until now I haven't found a reason why you let this happen. So I need a purpose and you are not giving me, so I'm okay, like I am doing this, I'm killing myself.
Just leave.
And then I heard a voice, and then this voice is like, hlonipha uyihlono nyoko. Yo, and I'm like, hi guys, depression is a no heal. There's things like speaking in my ear, like there's a voice, and I'm like, huh? And then it says again, hlonipha uyihlono nyoko. And then I'm like, okay, I respect my mother. I don't know where my dad is. And then the voice is like, take a chair, and in that chair, imagine that it's your father. And do not call him by name, do not call him by anger, and just tell him that you forgive him. Oh, and I'm like, Aibo, why can't you come and say sorry to me?
Yeah, I mean, what have I done?
What have I done? And it says again, take a chair and say that you forgive him. And that's what I did. And the moment that I'm doing it, I'm not feeling angry. I'm just truly just releasing all the pain and the anger I had towards this man. And I'm just like, I release you. I've had it with this life. If God giving me my purpose means me, I have to forgive you, then I am doing it. Then I forgave him. And I slept. And the following morning, I'm like, how? I'm so light. My mind is clear. I am able to think. I'm excited about going to school. I am excited about finishing my course. I am excited, And then that evening, God is like, take a pen and paper and write. And then he's like, the reason why you are writing this, the purpose of you writing this book is to teach people about forgiveness. And it's to teach those, it's to help those who have been through what you have been through to overcome it. And I'm like, hey, Chisa Maria. Like, Kelly, you have been chosen. You are Maria, And that's what I always say, that Zizo, you have been Umeri. And that's when I understood what my name meant. When my grandmother was like, this is why I named you Zizo. You are not Zizo Intombi, because I grew up thinking that I'm Zizo Intombi or whatever. But my grandmother was like, Ungu Zizo Isabelo Zam. And I was like, oh, okay, because now when you call my name, Uti Zizo Isabelo Zam. So I am everyone's shares. So that is basically my story, and that is how I came about forgiving my dad. And forgiving for me was such a long journey, because now I had to forgive my dad, and God was like, this is not the end.
Yeah.
Like, we have to go to the little girl, because go back,
right.
Go back to the little girl, forgive that little girl, and God reminded me of the instances that happened where maybe I could have screamed for help. Because those were questions I was asking, we were living in a gated community, why didn't I scream? I remember one time he had just finished doing what he was doing, and then a knock came and someone was borrowing a knife. Maybe at that time I would have said, hey, help me, I'm going, but I didn't, and I hated that moment in my mind. But God was like, I needed to cook you, I needed to cook you to become the person that I want you to be as God. So that is
the story here. So this last part of the book that says purified and sanctified at last. It's actually it explains.
Yes, it explains
your journey
itself. Yes.
of forgiving him.
Yes, because I always say to myself that I always tell people that purification it hurts, it hurts because even water now has to go through, even a diamond has to be pressed and cooked in a hot furnace for it to become a diamond. So that is purification of something, not that I was dirty, but God was just doing something with me. And sanctification, it says that it sets you apart. So I am set apart from the rest of, because people can say I'm a victim of rape and but have you survived? The only thing that makes me different from a victim of rape in this moment, in these times, is that I have survived and I have been set apart by God. I allowed God to set me apart from those people so that I can stand and say, God can do it.
Can do it. And I think the beautiful part of your story, Wenazi, is the part where you say, I did face it. I had to go back there.
Yeah.
Some people, they hide behind prayer. We can't run away from that. We are both church girls. Some people, they hide their pain behind prayer.
Yeah.
Some people, they don't want to be vulnerable even before God. Some people, they don't become realistic even of the events that had occurred. And some people, they preach forgiveness. But with the actions are different. They're dying inside. Some people, they sometimes make God as if God does not understand how we feel. God is this God who will just say forgive. But I understand your story as even in that forgiveness stage, it is a journey. You have to be practical about it. You have to forgive even against your will.
Definitely.
So I believe when you went back and took some time and write the book, it was a way of God making you to have that journey, and travel with him and cry and allow him to deliver you from that and all. And I know that you have part in your book, the very last, which I love the most in your book, 80 signs to look out for. I think this will help someone at home, someone with a daughter. Maybe you can just talk briefly about those signs.
Sorry. So signs, basically, as I spoke earlier, like my mom was like, I saw that you changed your weight, you've lost weight and all of that. The best advice I can give to a viewer is that know your child.
Maybe talk to them.
Know your child. Know their behaviors, because other children are born bubbly, are born, all of that. Children have different characters, and that is when you'll be able to know that, no, man, something is wrong. This child is quiet, or a child was born quiet and all of a sudden they are excited by minor things, So those are the things that you should look out for, and the best way for you to know that there is something wrong going on with your child is knowing your child. I know it's very difficult as a parent to dig into certain issues, but the world we live in now requires a parent to sit down with their girl child, to sit down with their boy child, and make them aware of what we are dealing with as a country, as the world, because GBV is a worldwide pandemic. So teach your child things to do, teach your child things not to do, and we stop this masculinity thing in our household. Each child is the same. A girl is a girl, a boy is a boy. If there are chores in the house, there's no chores for boys. There are no chores for girls, because now if we give men the power to be above us, and then that's where the problem starts. It starts there. So as a parent now, as they are growing, your son must learn to respect Sister YK. Must know that my sister mustn't go after me if I lose my shoes. My sister is gonna, that's where the problem starts. So know your child and treat your children according, because I feel like if my mom would have not that it had to happen, right? But maybe if my mom was like, she set me down and she was like, okay, Zizo, this is it, maybe I would have been aware, but Dada, what you are doing is not right.
Development, body,
yes, all of that,
hormones and all the stages.
But we understand ngokyana.
Yeah.
No one spoke about it. No one spoke about
Even
rape.
in their era, they
You know,
grow
in the
up, so
without talking about it. But nowadays, everything, like, what is worse now is that you're not gonna teach your child about these things, and then they're gonna teach themselves,
yeah.
you know, in media and
internet.
outside, and it won't be done the right way.
Yeah.
So that is the best advice that I can give, is that do it right.
Do
the
it
first
right
time.
the first time. And
Yeah.
then the importance of forgiveness. What forgiveness does to a person. Like, I
Yo.
mean, Lendo, that you went through, hey,
Yeah, it's
deep.
Yeah.
As you say it, like, okay, how I wish it was like a fiction. It's
Yeah.
something that maybe just imagine, but to tell this story
real.
and I sit next to you, it's like this thing happened to
Yeah.
me. And then I'm like, you have forgiven your dad, and you are fine with it. You are living your purpose now. You understand your purpose better. What has forgiveness done to you?
Your forgiveness has done a lot to me. I remember I used to live in Lusikisiki. There was a high school program I was doing there, and as soon as I got there, I learned that Lusikisiki is a drug a weed hub, you know. And I was like, and then they were like, no, it makes you forget. I'm like, give it to me, you know. I was all for that. Like in my room, I used to have a wine bottle so that I can be able to sleep, because depression had just had the best of me, if I can put it that way. And so I was like, listen, if anything is going to help me. So I was a druggie. I was an alcoholic at,
How old were you?
like, 21.
Imagine.
I was that child, and
Because you wanted to take the pain
to
away.
take away the pain, and I was just doing anything that could help me do all of this. But then now forgiveness comes in, and forgiveness comes with restoration, and God is like, listen, this is not going to happen to my child, you know. And so everything, I didn't even need to go to rehab. I was like, oh no, so this is not for me, thanks, bye. Alcohol is not for me, thanks, bye. You know, alcohol is not for me to help me forget my problems, because really the following day you remember, Uti, hey, you have 1,001 problems, you know. So it was just like that. It was literally like that. That's what forgiveness has done to me. And I always say that we all have that power to forgive. It just needs someone to go there, like, and tap into that power to just release it, because we do have it. We do it. We can't be living in a world of bitterness and unforgiving when there's Jesus who was like on the cross and was like, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Whom am I now to stand here and say, I will not forgive my father, when there's a God who can restore everything that you have lost, you know? So I was like, listen, I can do this, and maybe this is really my purpose. This is what God means when he says that I need to teach people about forgiveness, because God is not asking a person who you can see that, sisi, umhlaba has finished you, you know. Like, God is using a person who is beautiful. God is using a person who is intelligent. God is using a person who is confident about herself to say that I have forgiven my father who has raped me, but not even a single part of my body can show that I was raped for 7 years. Not even, like, even the way I speak, you can hear that this person, you know, exactly. So God chose that person, so he can also get you to that point in life.
This cannot be easy, but it really takes the grace of God. Yes, you are forgiven, but at the end of the day, you're a human being. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and, you know, telling your story as it is, and more than anything else, encouraging us to live in forgiveness. May the Lord open more doors for you, and, you know, may the Lord touch lives through this testimony, because now it is a testimony. And as God has restored you, as God has restored your soul, may He continue to make your soul, make you prosper as your soul prospers. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Where can we find you? Are you on social media?
Yes, I am on social media. I'm on Insta, Zizo_Apleni. I am on Facebook, Isabelozam Apleni, my personal account. And I have a page, Zizo Isabelozam Apleni.
Okay, so that's where people can order your book. And also, they can book you for sessions?
Yes.
Because I know you
Yeah.
you work a lot with young people and
Yes,
girls.
yes.
Thank you so much, Z.
It's a
Not
pleasure.
all one. Thank
you.
And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. What the highlight for me is, forgiveness comes with restoration. So there are just things that we need in our lives to be brought back and restored. But it will take me and you to forgive that one person, even if you do not understand it or you are not understood by many. But forgiveness comes with it restoration. Thank you so much for your time, and may the Lord richly bless you. This was it for today. My name is Lali Tokwe, and this is the Alignment Conversations with Lali Tokwe. God bless you.